Hello guys, welcome to Heart Whispers with Joey, and I've got on set Cythia. We've been having quite a thriving conversation, and we've been talking a lot about mental health, child trauma, the style of discipline and raising a child back in Africa, and how it relates to child trauma and the whole personality and psychology of the person's life when they grow up. But before we get into that, I would let Cythia talk to us a bit about what it's like for you in your field, in your job, what it's been like for you.
In my life has been life. Sorry,
What do you mean life has been lifeless?
No, I didn't say lifeless. I said life has been lifing. So far, not bad. I came to the UK in September 2022 for my master's 2 years course. Finished doing my placement, and somehow I won't say I have had the smoothest of the UK life, but I promise you my life has not been hard compared to some people that have heard their stories. So at least, first of all, I did not pay my fees myself, so a whole chunk of that stress is off my shoulders. It's just for you to look for how to find job for yourself, pay your bills and etc. So I think I've been doing well with that.
So I want to ask here, I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you. And one of them is, what's something you wish you could tell your younger self?
Hey.
You heard that Igbo accent. Hey. You always know.
My younger self. Yeah. You shouldn't have studied history.
Studied? What did you say you studied?
History as
uni?
bachelor's. Yeah. And I did it in a very wonderful uni. University of Benin. Very grounded in history, but in retrospect, I don't care. I don't really care about history. I would have done something more productive. Probably have dived into management long time, or just something that would better 21st century. No jokes. So people are using history to
run it back again.
but don't do history.
Wait, you went into uni because you wanted to study history?
I applied. It's a long thing. I've always wanted to study law. I still think I want to study law.
So what happened?
But
why history?
I never get to apply for law at all. My daddy said, because I stutter. Maybe none of you have noticed, but I do stutter.
No,
then my daddy was also of the opinion that women that study law, they don't respect their husbands. And then the lawyers, they don't make money in Nigeria. So there was no need for me to study law. So I didn't even apply for law at all. I applied for international studies and diplomacy. And University of Benin pushed me to history and
Wait, so you wanted something similar to law?
It's not even similar, but something that I can do that will still make me want to talk and defend people.
So my question is,
my goal of doing apply for ISD, International Studies and Diplomacy, was I want to be a diplomat in Nigeria. So
my question is, you've got this ideology right from when you were a kid that you wanted to be a lawyer, you wanted to study law. Now, obviously, there's been some conversations, there's been some perception about women. That's the perception your dad told you,
yeah?
That women who are lawyers don't respect their husbands. So now you had to sell your dreams to study something else. You had to give away your dreams to study something else because you banked on what your dad said.
Not really banking on what my daddy said. I feel like daddy said it from a point of care.
Love.
And love. The main thing was I stutter. Now, I didn't have people that could have told me that time that even though you're stuttering, you can still do it well. It was more of a concern about the stuttering. So how do you want to defend somebody in law courts in the first place? You not respect your husband and lawyers don't make money came as like a secondary reason. But the primary one was because I stutter.
So if you could tell your younger self now, you would have wished
I would have gone ahead to
study
law, and I promise you, I would have kicked ass.
And the thing here, that brings us back to a lot of things that I said we will be talking about here in more series, in details, when we talk about raising a child. Growing up in Africa, there's a whole lot. Now, I'm not saying this to throw shade at anyone or anybody. Probably, if you were opportune to grow up in this part of the world, it's a different experience and you would understand it. But if you've not had that experience to grow up in this part of the world, in Africa, and you might not understand what we're saying. But I think it's also one of the concerns that I think we also talk about. A lot of times, even as kids, we've got this genuine passion for things that we want to do. we want to become. But obviously, because we've got a cultural system in place that boxes you into this box that this is what you are meant to be. You are meant to live or do, to live out other people's perception about you. You know what I'm saying? As a kid then, quite all right, you stuttered, but if you had more support, more encouragement, more motivation,
and probably have a mentor who is a lawyer that
you get what I mean? If there's a system in place that could have pushed you to still go ahead and you know, chase your dream, study the law and become, and I think you would have been a badass lawyer.
I still think I would. I think before I die, I would still go get a law degree. That is a dream.
Honestly,
but I would do that.
But I think we're still going to talk about it more though in later series, you know, raising a child, growing up in Africa, how it affects who you are today and how all those things has constituted to create the persona of your identity today. I think we're going to talk about that later though. But I've got another question I want to ask, So, what's the biggest lie you've told someone you cared about?
Hey, you're making me think, but usually I don't tell a lot of lies. Well, it's a lie, but then it's also a very frequent saying every other person would say. When your mommy asks you, Kekime, are you coping?
What was that?
Even how are you coping? And at that point in time, that it's not hitting anywhere, it's not good. But then you just tell mom, say, I'm fine, no, we are good. How about you? Kind of.
But you're not fine.
But then, inside of me, I'm not fine. I want to say a lot, but I don't want to get her panicking.
Why?
So you just give her that flimsy reply that should always come with "How are you?"
Okay. So why do you think is that though?
Okay.
I think that's one of the common lie we tell a lot when we're asked "How are you?" Deep down, we've got a lot we want to say.
But we just prefer to say
we just say.
It's also the upbringing and
growing up.
You should be fine. We've sent you out of Nigeria. We've sent you to a place that's better than Nigeria. So
you should be fine.
Now, it's not the expectation. It's me now telling myself, I'm not in Nigeria. There are people in Nigeria not doing well. People are suffering. And I have the privilege to be here. I should be fine. That burden shouldn't be on them anymore.
Is not fair.
They have spent thousands of pounds here. You shouldn't be putting them in a place where they should worry anymore about you. They should worry about other people.
At the end of the day also.
But the reality is that
they're not fine.
If that makes sense.
And I think this is also why a lot of times we say it's okay not to be fine.
It's very okay not to be okay.
It's okay. It's very okay not to be okay. I think I like the way you put it. Because a lot of time we bury a whole lot inside. And we go up on smiles. We're walking around with a lot of smiles. But deep down we are not okay. Another thing I think is it also has a lot to do with the way we grew up. So we grew up with this perception that you need to be strong, you need to be resilient.
You think you'll be giving that more, so you should start returning them, which is not bad though. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying that is why I would rather tell you I'm fine than want you to talk. I'm just fine, really.
And that's why really there is need for us to start changing the narratives. There's need for us to start changing the narratives, that letting our people know that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to speak out. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to say it when you are in pain, when you are in struggling. Even when a lot of time people look at you as that big, tough, good-looking person. Your life is all rosy. Things are going fine. But it's okay to say, listen, in as much you see me, I am looking this. But I'm struggling. I'm drowning. I've got a lot going on for me.
It's okay to also say, I can't afford this. I think that's a miracle for me, honestly.
I can't afford this.
Well, I've never been somebody that is on that expensive lifestyle, but it's even more comforting that I could tell you, oh, that's fine, I can't afford it at this moment. I don't know, I don't have that money. I'm just very cool saying it, and it says me a lot of things. All
right, so another question I want to ask is, what have you learned about yourself in the past 1 year? Or let's say, since you moved to England what have you learned about yourself? What is this aspect of you, of your personality that you've learned, you've rediscovered about yourself since you moved to England, away from your parents? Now you're all alone by yourself. You're trying to survive, you're trying to evolve, you're trying to make it, what have you learned about yourself?
I think I'm a very good actress. Not acting movies.
I never expected.
Not acting movies, just acting out life.
All right.
So, anyway, I don't know if it's new news. Someone have pointed it out to me when I was in Nigeria, but I came to the UK and started seeing it myself.
So,
when I was doing my NYSC in Lagos, I stayed in a corpus lodge because I'm a Catholic. So we had this Catholic corpus lodge and stuff. So it's a combination of guys and girls, all core members, Catholic corpus and stuff. So I had friends as at that time. I think if you look at me, just my outlook, I don't give that vibe of somebody that is stubborn, somebody that is not a worker. You perceive that I'm easygoing. But in the real sense, if you come close, I'm not very easygoing. And I'm not all of that laid back person that you might think I am. So this friend of mine said that I have bipolar. It might not be bipolar, but I get what he's saying. He's trying to say I have two personalities. So it's more like the cool one and the
crazy one.
Your head is not correct kind of personality. I didn't see that in Nigeria so much. It's funny, but I never get to see myself like that. But when I came to the UK, truly, yes, I really have this double
personality. Yeah.
And it's not in a bad way. Just that I know how to step into a place and become this person. Step into another place that needs me to be the other person. I go into it. So I embody that too excellently.
It's just like what you said now. So this is you now moving to England, moving to a different territory entirely, and you're realizing this about yourself. This also draws a reflection now. I had a conversation with a friend, and I told a friend that, do you know that a lot of people raised in Africa, I wouldn't really talk about East Africa because I might not know much about it, but a lot of people raised in West Africa. What I'm trying to say is, so we grew up in a culture that taught us a lot about this is who you are as a man. Let me use as a man, this is who you are. And a woman is supposed to behave in some type of way. A woman shouldn't have a voice. Not that she shouldn't have a voice, but you're the man. Whatever you say is final. This is the way it is. A woman is meant to worship you. A woman is meant to do this. A woman is meant to do that to you. And you grow up sometimes with that mentality. And you start building some kind of traits that makes you become a little bit narcissistic that you might not even know.
I feel like being that narcissistic, is that what you call it, is not very bad. I feel like everybody have a trace of that in them. When it becomes bad is when it is more of who you have become. I feel like everybody can gaslight. Everyone can manipulate. But it's now on spectrum. So if yours is up there where it's a problem, then it's a problem. That is when people want to think or talk about you. That is part of what they say about you, because you've done it to 100 and 1,000 people. Everywhere you go, there is a spotlight. They can spot it that this is what
you've embraced that trait about you.
I do not think there is anybody in this life that is not capable of manipulating. I do not think there's anyone that is not capable of gaslighting. Doesn't make sense. Yeah. But then, what is the percentage? How is it beginning to affect your life and the life of the people around you? What can will someone describe you and not add she is manipulative and she's gaslighting, like someone that can gaslight? But when people are beginning to analyze you and those things are popping up, then you have to look at yourself. But I just think
but in such situations, so what do you advise the person to do?
Which person? Is it the person that is capable of, or is it someone that has become a personality?
That is gaslight.
You can't fix yourself. That is a problem. You are a problem of the society. Go and solve your problem. I tell you most solemnly, Catholic in me is kicking. But then, just go and find solution to your problem. Speak to people that will help you. I don't think it's not good for you to manipulate people, to gaslight.
But do you think a lot of people who do that on purpose also?
Like I said, I feel like what you might consider a vice can be something of a virtue to someone else. Some people can act out gaslighting. Doesn't make sense. They need to do that at this point in time to get what they want. Also, why some people do it without even knowing they are doing it? Now that is the problem. When you think you're not doing it, but you're actually doing it, and you think it's okay. But if you're acting it, I feel like it is your tactics to survive. So it depends on what is wrong with you. What are you doing exactly? Are you aware of what you're doing, or are you aware of what you're doing? That is the problem.
All right, so I've got this question also I want to ask. When was the last time you felt like you let someone you love down? And don't tell me you've never let anyone down.
A lot of times. Why I'm saying is I'm trying to pick out the one that will not hit home in my head. But can I not talk about this one? Can I not talk about... Can we skip it?
No.
Can we skip it?
No.
We can skip it.
No.
Because the only good thing is the truth if I'm going to be truthful right now,
You need to. Come on.
no,
But I just thought you said a couple of minutes ago, you said you don't like lying.
I don't. The thing is, I have not processed this particular answer very well. Except if I want to answer something that is not the truth, then we can go. But if you are going to hear the truth, honestly, I need more time to process. So maybe when I come next time, ask me again.
So let me ask this one then. When was the last time you felt out of place?
In my previous workplace, I told you now that I was the only lady, black woman in the team of 22 men. I said it to you. I think I said, wasn't that part of what I said earlier?
Oh,
So when I started, there was
wait, you were the only lady,
my department, and then
only woman of color in the midst of 22
guys.
white men.
It did not hit me when I started. When it hit me was, there was a time we had meeting because the organization was updating their value. So they were seeking opinions to hear from their employees and stuff. So it was the turn of my department to go into the conference room. Then everybody's now sat down all around the table. And then I was looking around. Checked. What are you, woman and black? No, when it's squeezed into me now. Yeah, you're hot.
No,
but it didn't deter me a lot from doing what I'm supposed to do. I left a good impression. I feel like I made Nigeria proud.
And you had a good time there.
And I had a good time there as well.
How about you also tell me this? When was the last time you felt like you were being judged unfairly?
A lot of times. Well, you know that I'm somebody that holds opinion in my WhatsApp stories. I write the most.
Well, for me, I think I always say you're a loud thinker. Your thoughts are loud and they're out of the box. A lot of times.
When it comes to judging, I think it has become part of me, so I don't care anymore. But then I will talk about me judging myself. So because I'm that kind of person, I feel like
you don't care about people judging you unfairly.
If I say I don't care, I'll be lying. But I genuinely,
at the end of the day, you care.
It doesn't weigh me too much. It just doesn't weigh me down too much. However, where I'm beginning to draw the line is when I now become the person that judge myself. I now think because I'm this kind of person, I have this kind of opinion, and then so and so people will not like me. But it's not true because I still get the favors that I want to get. They don't look at me. So I feel like I am the person that judge myself that's unfairly, if that makes sense. The truth is, in recent time, I don't have any situation where I've been judged unfairly, except from my own self.
But how about in the past? Can you tell us once where you would say
it will take me a lot of time to think. When I was in Nigeria, when I was working in a bank, so something happened. It's a long story, but it has to do with colleagues keeping you back in the bank for a longer time, late into the night.
Yeah. I know how that feels.
And all of those things, but everybody is going home. The branch manager is going home. The supervisor is outside of the bank hall. It's just you, and they're still keeping you in the bank for some reason. But anyway, I had to shut down my laptop, log out of my system, and they had a problem with it. So at the end of the day, I was given a query for me to write and explain to them why I closed my system, logged out, and you that is giving me query, you've got to your house, and etc. So of course, I wrote my query and I entangled everybody. I was hoping it would be sent to Lagos, our headquarters, but it didn't fly because they know that if you send it, all of you will enter Wahala, you know, that kind of thing. And then they expected me to say sorry.
Did you say sorry though?
No, obviously, I cannot say sorry. I told them that I can't say sorry. I don't see the need why I should say sorry. And then saying sorry is accepting that which you did, but I didn't do what you guys are saying. So
last question. What do you hope is the best thing people notice about you first? When people meet you for the first time, what do you hope is the best thing they should notice about you first?
That they are opportuned, that they have the privilege of meeting an angel in human form.
No, so I think you're getting it wrong. No, so this is what I mean, yeah? When someone meets you for the first time, what is the first thing they notice about you? Is it physically? I don't know. Physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever. But what's the first thing?
I swear to you, this is the first thing I want them. It's not possible.
No, so I'm not saying what you want them to notice. I'm saying what is the first thing they notice, not what you want them to notice.
I wouldn't know the first thing they notice. Someone can come in and notice my face or my skin color, or it depends on what you're noticing. But if you're asking me what I would want them to notice, then I just answered you. But I have dimples.
So that's the first thing they notice. So if someone, let's assume you met someone for the first time, you guys are outside talking, or so, what would be the first thing the person notices about? Will he notice that you are very tall, or you're very short, or you're very outspoken, or will he notice your intelligence first, or you get what I mean?
The person will most likely notice my skin color, and if I'm keeping my hair out, my natural hair, they will see that my hair is lovely. It's just that most times I hide them under the wig. I have a lovely hair.
So why do you hide them under the wig then?
To protect them, because it's not every time that you want to become. One thing about black hair is if you keep them in a place, they tend to grow. And I'm black people stay very far away from me to grow in length, and that's it. But if you keep losing, untwisting, brushing, it just doesn't grow down. I might be wrong, but that is what happens to my own hair.
To your own hair.
But if I keep it together, wear my wigs over probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I take them down. I notice the length, the volume increased. So,
all right, guys. So it's been nice having you on set, Cythia.
Thank you.
We've had a brief chat with Cythia, and we would be having a session with Cythia in another episode where we would be talking about child abuse, we'll be talking about child abuse, child trauma, and the mental health of people. How does child trauma affect people when they grow up? It's going to be like a series that will take up to 4 series. We'll be talking about it in episode by episode. Exhausts all we have to say. There's a whole lot we have to talk about. That. You know what I mean? Me and her have been told, there has been some conversations we've been having behind the scene, and we've been trying to dive into some things. But just keep an eye on the channel. You're going to see a whole lot about that. Because at the end of the day, we'll be exposing some deep thoughts about our community, and not just exposing deep thoughts about our community, it will also be inspiring. These are informations that will also help the way you realize that at some point, you realize that that type of life you've been living is not the best life you should live. Probably you'd realize that probably some things you've been doing over time that you feel is okay, it's not okay. Probably you may realize that you really need to go for therapy, you need to see a counselor, you need all that. You know, I know a lot of people, when you talk about therapy, they tell you that, why do I need to go sit in front of a shrink and tell him about my life? They don't even care. You know what I mean? But we'll talk about all that in our next episode. Don't touch that dial. Click on the button, share, and you see that little icon there. Click on it so you get notified each time we get the next episode out. You've got anything for our guys just before we go off set?
Not sure, but just
take life easy. Yeah, you've heard it from
for the sake of your mental health. Anyway, if you want, it's not by force. It's just an opinion.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Yeah, bye.